Hello and welcome, everyone. Thanks again for tuning in for the second part of the warm-ups for Cycle 3. In this particular short presentation, we're just going to give you the questions and the answers to the warm-ups and the questions of the day. As you're aware, these questions and answers pretty much cover the main thematics of each day's lesson, so please pay close attention as we shall begin right now. Before I go over the question, please let me make sure that you have open your Google Doc on Cycle 3 for the warm-ups, and go ahead and type down the question and the answer in a different colored font. For Monday and Tuesday's lesson, how and why did the Neolithic era change and transform from the Paleolithic era in world history? And in turn, how did this affect world cultures? Here's the answer to the question of the day. So first and foremost, mankind settles. Mankind settles in places that are conducive to their needs after they mass migrate over pretty much almost all the world. Now, if you remember being in class, you might have seen a video that showed an animated path of migration around the world, which pretty much shows us and tells us where man moved, and we can also kind of come up with reasons as to why they moved. Additionally, they also moved because of food, and when they settled, they formed formal farms to be able to feed and produce more. Also, when mankind settles, they establish more elaborate safety nets. The clans that they were once in formed into full-fledged civilizations that work communally and together. Also, they establish a sense of culture. Villagers embed cultural traits and habits that last and surpass the test of time. In fact, it's believed that some of the gender and sociological roles of culture back then in primitive villages can still be felt today in the greater community. When man settles, they also establish their first form of government. Governments formed to protect and serve the settlements and the people that are in them. Also, we can look a lot and learn a lot from these civilizations when we look at the overarching legacy that they gave us. New, dynamic, and powerful civilizations form that would forever leave their mark on world history and world cultures in a way where later on, mighty empires and city-states would later take form. Let's go to the next question of the day. For Thursday and Friday, what key things make a successful civilization? How and why did civilizations form in the early world, and how did this affect world cultures? So this might sound similar to the previous question that we just asked. What I'm trying to get at here is, how did full-fledged civilizations that later rose to empires, how did they come to be, and why do we have to learn about them in a world cultures, world history class? Here you go. The first thing I want you to bear in mind is location. So the ancient world, of course, would set up around the Mediterranean Sea, and these civilizations arose in a prime geographic location that was conducive to their needs too. In fact, many river valley civilizations would take shape and take form that would forever be the start of civilization around the world. Not only that, mankind and full-fledged civilizations would form a surplus of goods, and they would produce more food, crops, goods, and services for the people. Also, mankind and civilizations would learn the concept of trading, with greater connections amongst other civilizations to buy, sell, and barter goods. Also, mankind and civilizations would learn how to communicate through a commonly agreed upon method of speaking and or writing. Spoken and written language is a game changer for world civilization. After that, we can't ignore the contributions of government, as of course warfare too, in the same juncture would change civilizations and world history forever. Early disagreements that dissolved into battles and then full-scale wars relied on militaries funded by the government and funded by the said civilization. Now, the legacy of learning about world civilizations that later gave rise to world empires is that the more people benefited from the communal contribution and common identity of one civilization. In case you're wondering, how did we ever get something called the Roman Empire and the Roman Republic? It's because of the start of small-scale civilizations that came into full-scale civilizations. So understanding that story is key to understanding the story of all of us. Thank you very much for tuning in. And remember to complete and submit your warm-ups by the specified deadline on Google Classroom. Thank you very much.